Could Josh Jacobs be a Denver Bronco? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson, and on today's show, we're going to discuss the idea of Josh Jacobs potentially coming to Mile High. That was included in a recent CBS Sports article where they made some running back predictions, and this one is a bold one to say the least. I've got lots of opinions on it, but before we jump into all that, help us grow this channel throughout the off season by sharing our videos. You can send it to a friend, a family member, but if you share it on Twitter and tag me at Matthew PD, I will give you a shout out on a future show. So hit that share button down below, click the Twitter icon, tag me at Matthew PD, and poof, you get a shout out on a future Broncos Breakdown. Now, the background on this CBS Sports article that had Jacobs being traded to the Broncos. Josh Jacobs has not signed his $10.1 million franchise tag, and the team and Jacobs have until July 17th to reach a long-term deal. So Jacobs is not necessarily holding out, but at the same time, he's on the roster, but not on the roster. It's a very bizarre situation when players get the franchise tag and they don't sign it because they're not a free agent. They are still, under that team's umbrella, but they're also not on that team's roster officially just yet. Now, in CBS Sports' article, they had Jacobs getting a 3-year, $39 million contract by Denver once he gets traded. This does not even have a 1% chance of happening. This has a negative 1% chance of happening for a lot of reasons. But I think the three biggest reasons are these. An interdivision trade is not impossible. It does happen very rarely, though. We saw it last year. TJ Hawkinson went from Detroit to Minnesota. So I can't say that this is the grounds for why it would never happen, but it is a huge hurdle to get over, right? The second reason why I think this is highly unlikely is Javonte Williams. His rehab has gone very well. He was a limited participant during OTAs and minicamp when most people thought we would not even see him until even close to September. So the fact that we're even seeing flashes of him now in the offseason in May and in June, very promising stuff that he will be ready to go at least close to the start of the season. And then maybe to my third biggest hurdle here is a 3-year, $39 million contract for a running back when Denver, according to Over the Cap, has negative $17.6 million in cap space. They already have to make some cuts in the future to get back in the green. I don't think giving out a 3-year, $39 million contract to a running back when you have a good one on his rookie deal is all that financially smart. But Cody Benjamin from CBS Sports had this to say. We doubt the Raiders would prefer to trade their franchise player inside the division, but Denver's new coach, Sean Payton, gushed about Jacobs earlier this offseason, paid decent money for starting running backs in New Orleans, and could use downhill insurance as Javonte Williams returns from injury with newcomer Samaje Perine better suited for number 2 duties. You do not trade picks and assets away and hand out a 3-year, $39 million contract as insurance. That is your new starting running back. That is not a, hey, just in case Javonte is going to miss the first week or two of the season, we've got this guy named Jacobs. We're only paying him $39 million to hold down the fort until Williams comes over. No. Newsflash for you. If this trade does happen and that contract is given out, Javonte Williams is not your starting running back anymore. Josh Jacobs is. Now, they could go with the committee backfield like Sean Payton did in New Orleans with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, where both guys get a good amount of touches, and there is some logic behind that, but this is not an insurance move. An insurance move is signing a cheap running back like Royce Freeman or someone like that to a 1-year veteran minimum contract, right? It is not a blockbuster trade in giving out a $39 million contract to a running back. That is not insurance. That is your new starting back. So I think it made it pretty clear where I stand on this, but let me know if you disagree. Should the Broncos trade for Josh Jacobs? Yes or no? I am passing, and it's not only because of this trade being highly unlikely. I live for unlikely. I've got no issue discussing unlikely, but I am passing on trading for Josh Jacobs because I don't think it's a good move for Denver. Even if Javonte Williams did not exist, right? Let's say they never drafted Williams, they took some safety, some guard, I don't know, and Samaje Perine was their back. I don't think trading for Jacobs and giving out a 3-year, $39 million contract is a good move for this team long term. Yes, he is the NFL's reigning rusher, or leading rusher rather, 1,600 yards last year, off 340 carries, keep in mind. So they fed him the rock a ton. 12 touchdowns. Those are all great numbers. But when you look at those numbers, does anything stand out to you? For me, it's never going above 5 yards a carry. So you want to give up assets and a pretty big contract. 39 divided by 3, Jack? What do you think that number is right there? Like 15 million? $13 million. So $13 million a season and give up picks for a guy whose career average is 4.4 yards a carry? That is just way too rich for me. I think that is being a prisoner of the moment, and Josh Jacobs having a great season a season ago, but don't turn that one season when the Raiders themselves didn't see anything long-term in him. Otherwise, they would have picked up his 5th-year option into a $13 million a season contract and giving up probably like a 4th or maybe even a 3rd-round pick, something like that. Nope, not interested in those for those reasons. Now, before we get on to the rest of today's show, we are marching to 15,000 subscribers. We recently crossed 14,000 subs. Thank you to all of you who have recently joined. But if you have not subscribed yet and you are thinking of doing so, make sure you lock yourself in for the best free Broncos coverage out there. Now, there is something to Sean Payton gushing over Jacobs, like Cody Benjamin pointed out, because Sean Payton did say a few months ago, "I'm glad he's a free agent. I encourage everyone to look at him. Get him out of the West. Maybe we look at him. I love a mixed backfield, and you get to play longer." So Sean Payton did gush over him back in like February, and Sean Payton did give out a big contract to Alvin Kamara, 5 years, $75 million, $15 million a season. So this would theoretically be cheaper on average than what CBS Sports included, or offered rather. But when you look at what Alvin Kamara did before he got that contract extension, he was much better than Josh Jacobs, in my opinion. He averaged 5 yards a carry, something Jacobs has never done in his career, and he only averages 4.4 yards in his career. He had over 4,000 yards from the line of scrimmage between rushing yards and receiving yards. He had a big receiving threat to his game, something Jacobs does not have. In fact, Josh Jacobs has never even caught a touchdown pass. This is not a Josh Jacobs sucks things. This is a Josh Jacobs is not worth giving up picks and a 3-year, $39 million contract video. I think comparing what Sean Payton gave to Alvin Kamara and justifying that to give to Josh Jacobs is silly. Alvin Kamara, his first 3 years, was way better than Josh Jacobs, even his first 4 years. So I don't think you can look at what happened in New Orleans and go, well, based off that, we can assume that Sean Payton would love to give this contract to Josh Jacobs. Alvin Kamara was a game changer his first 3 seasons down in the Big Easy. Josh Jacobs was a really good running back his first 4 years. Really good running back his first 3 years. Very good his fourth season. Top running back in his 4th year. But I just think it's a bit lazy and not apples to apples to go, well, if it happened in New Orleans, surely it can happen in Denver. If Josh Jacobs had a start to his career like Alvin Kamara did, sure. But you have to look at the entire body of evidence here. And that shows us that Josh Jacobs, his first 3 years, did not look like someone who was going to get a 3-year, $39 million contract. So if you want to be a prisoner of the moment for one season, and believe me, there are a lot of guys who had one great season as a running back and then fell off a little bit. Kareem Hunt was the NFL leading rusher. Now, we know why he had his ultimate demise in Kansas City, but he never got back to the top. There are endless cases of guys being a flash in the pan, one great season, and then coming back down to earth a little bit. I don't want to see Denver overpay for Josh Jacobs because of one great season in Las Vegas. If it was a 3-year, $25 million contract, which would be an all-time bargain, way less than he's getting the franchise tag, sure, at that point it's worth it. But it's more than that, and it's giving up picks. But for those reasons, I'm out. Now, who is your favorite Broncos running back of all time? Let me know down in the comment section who that favorite player is from the running back position. I don't want to ask if we should make another trade for anyone else because I'm getting a little tired of the trade talk and get a bit nauseating for myself. So give me your favorite running back from Denver all time. Before we get on out of here, some quick housekeeping notes. We will be live here at Chat Sports for the NBA draft. So make sure you check us out Thursday night, entire coverage, both rounds. And you know what? If a certain someone gets picked as a future MVP, we are not going to have a Taco Bell ad run through it. That is my promise. That is the Chat Sports guarantee. So hang out with all of us here at Chat Sports for the NBA draft. Now, in the CBS Sports article, I wanted to just highlight the other running back moves that had being made. Dalvin Cook goes to Miami. Saquon Barkely stays with the Giants. Joe Mixon stays with the Bengals. Ezekiel Elliott goes to the Patriots. LeonardFournette goes to the Rams. And Kareem Hunt goes to the Commanders. So those were the other moves they had in this CBS Sports article. Make sure to share today's video over on Twitter. Tag me at Matthew Petey. Send it to a friend. Send it to a family member. Help grow this channel. And we're going to sign off, and we'll see everyone later.